What was the deadliest plane crash in history? The answer takes us back to 1977 on a foggy day in the Canary Islands. On this fateful day, the skies above Tenerife were a thick blanket of fog, obscuring the vision of even the most experienced pilots. The usual buzz of Gran Canaria Airport fell eerily silent as air traffic was diverted to the smaller Los Rodeos Airport on the island of Tenerife. This unexpected diversion led to an influx of planes seeking a place to land, saturating the tiny airport to its limits. Jumbo jets, like the two Boeing 747s from KLM and Pan American World Airways, found themselves parked on a taxiway, a place far from ideal for regular takeoff and landing operations. The stage was set, the players unknowingly in position, all on a taxiway at Los Rodeos Airport. The calm before the storm, before a tragedy that would go down in history, was eerily silent and shrouded in fog. It was a typical day at Los Rodeos until a series of misunderstandings led to catastrophic consequences. In the heart of the confusion, communication became a critical issue between the crew and air traffic control. The KLM and Pan Am Boeing 747s were preparing for departure, but the confluence of circumstances was about to create a perfect storm. The KLM pilot, perhaps eager to get back on schedule or simply misinterpreting the air traffic control, began to taxi down the makeshift runway, while the Pan Am plane was still on its path. The misunderstanding was a recipe for disaster, a tragic miscommunication that would prove fatal. The limited visibility due to the dense fog added to the confusion. The pilots were virtually flying blind, relying on radio messages that in this case were tragically misinterpreted. The weather conditions were challenging, yes, but it was the human error that played the pivotal role in the tragic events that were about to unfold. The KLM pilot, confident that the runway was clear, made the decision to begin accelerating for takeoff. It was a decision made under pressure, in less than ideal conditions. And it was a decision that proved incorrect. The Pan Am plane was still on the taxiway, not yet clear of the runway. This was a vital piece of information that, for whatever reason, failed to be accurately communicated. The KLM pilot, perhaps thinking he had received a green light, pushed forward, accelerating the massive Boeing 747 towards takeoff. Meanwhile, the Pan Am pilot, unaware of the imminent danger, continued to navigate his plane along the taxiway, aiming to clear the runway as quickly as possible. It was a race against time, a race they didn't even know they were part of. In the foggy confusion, the KLM plane started accelerating for takeoff, while the Pan Am plane was still on the taxiway. This was the tragic miscommunication that set the stage for the deadliest accident in aviation history. In a horrifying moment, the KLM plane took off and struck the Pan Am plane, leading to the deadliest plane crash in history. The two colossal Boeing 747s, shrouded in a veil of fog, were on a collision course. In a blink, the KLM aircraft, accelerating for takeoff, crashed into the upper fuselage of the Pan Am plane. The impact was catastrophic, a chilling spectacle that would be remembered as the Tenerife disaster. Both planes instantly erupted into a massive fireball. The inferno was so intense that it consumed the aircraft in moments, leaving nothing but smoldering wreckage in its wake. The KLM flight, carrying 248 passengers and crew, saw no survivors. The Pan Am flight, with 396 people on board, tragically lost 335 lives. The disaster claimed a total of 583 lives, marking it as the deadliest accident in aviation history. In the aftermath of the disaster, a thorough investigation was launched to uncover the factors that led to this catastrophic event. The probe shed light on a series of unfortunate events and missteps that culminated in the accident. The investigation highlighted the role of the dense fog that severely hampered visibility, leading to the KLM pilot's decision to take off without a clear view of the runway. Additionally, it underscored the communication errors and misunderstandings between the crew and air traffic control. The findings from the investigation were a wake-up call for the aviation industry. The Tenerife disaster underscored the need for stringent safety measures and effective communication protocols to prevent such incidents in the future.